Welcome to the Eagle's Nest Youth Export Incubator Season 3. In the first phase of the program, dozens of young entrepreneurs from across Zimbabwe brought their businesses to the nest. Now, these 20 have returned to the nest for another round of assessment. During this phase, the judges will review the progress each entrepreneur has made since their last visit to the nest. The selected businesses will proceed to the final round, where the 8 finalists will be chosen and rewarded with an export development package. This season of the Eagle's Nest is proudly brought to you by Zimtrade and EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, in partnership with UN Women. First in the nest tonight is Langa Moyo.
My name is Langa Bright Moyo. I'm the founder of Comrades Beverages. So what we do is we handcraft spirits that include rum and gin here in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. We were very much inspired to start this business during the COVID era. The whole idea was to utilize ingredients that have components that we can utilize to have a healthy alcoholic drink, which is, in our instance, Zumbani and Baba fruit. Baba fruit has got a very high vitamin component, and Zumbani has got a very high antioxidant component. At the moment, we very much selling in like tourist towns like Victoria Falls. You know, a whole lot of people that visit Zim want a product that they can identify with. So Matobo Gin has been selling quite well in Liquorama, in liquor supplies in Victoria Falls. And we believe if we take that to where these tourists are coming from, we can actually sell quite well. Zimtrade has actually equipped us with knowledge about the export market. We were not very much aware of the export market, what paperwork you need to have. We believe that Zimtrade can link us with the export market. Zimtrade has been doing very well for showcasing products, Zimbabwean products outside. And we believe we've got a unique product that can sell outside as well. So through the workshops that we have done, that have been provided by Zimtrade, mostly based on marketing and branding, we got to a point where we realized that we need to improve on our social proof. So we've had a product shoot where we've taken our product, we had a professional photographer so that we've got good content. This has actually helped us to reach out to many clients. We've also worked on our website. We got a professional individual to work on our website. So it's going to be online, I think, in a few weeks' time, whereby one can actually get to see the events that we are participating in and where we've got stock of bottles that might be in Zimbabwe, in South Africa, or in the UK. So that makes it easier for our clients to actually get to know more about where we have our product, because we have a challenge of people saying, where can we get our product, your product, do you actually have stock, and so on. I believe we are ready for the export market because already informally we are exporting to the UK, where we get to send like 24 bottles a month. But well, in terms of capacity, we might not be ready because, you know, the export market one might require 1,000 bottles a month or so on, which we believe that through this program we might get funding or financing to improve our production capacity. So we are very much confident Zimtrade is going to assist us in that sense. On the previous pitch, the judges were quite satisfied with the packaging that we had. But upon going through the workshops through Zim Trade, we realized that we are not just selling gin, we are also selling Matobo. So we've reworked the back sticker. The other thing that the consultant who visited our plant noted was that we need to upgrade our equipment that we're using to make our gin. I managed to visit South Africa. I got to visit craft distilleries in South Africa, got to see how they are doing the business there. And one of the things that I noted is that many of them are not just packaging gin in bottles, they're also packaging premixes in kegs. So you make your gin and tonic into a 30-liter drum, and then you sell at events. It saves you a lot on production costs, because one of the critical things for us that is expensive is the bottle itself and the cork. So that costs about 60% of our production costs. So we've managed to buy kegs. So in addition to that, we are now supplying Victoria Falls Liquor Supplies, which is like the biggest distributor of alcohol in Zimbabwe currently. So we are hoping that because they've got outlets in Harare, Kweru, Hwange, and so on and so on. So we're hoping to be moving from Victoria Falls to other places. I think some of you might be asking, why Victoria Falls when you're producing in Bulawayo? Why are you not focusing on Bulawayo? One of the main reasons is that the market in Victoria Falls, we can sell our product at a higher price. We're selling a unit at $18.50, whereas when we're selling in Bulawayo, we sell it at $15. We've gone on to get documentation such as we now have a PRAS certificate. One of the partners that we have is ZTA and Zimpax. These are government institutes that require you, if you're doing business with them, you need to have a PRAS certificate. So Zimpax has a whole lot of lodges in Matobo, mana pools, and so on and so on. So we are targeting that market. Whereas with ZTA, last year we did with them Sanganai Hlanganani. We're providing cocktails and beverages during that event. So we're going to be providing that as well. So we're looking at ways on how we can tap more into the partners that we have.
Thank you so much, Lana.
Yes.
You mentioned that the bottle and the cork were very expensive. Do you have actual figures for me?
So the figures vary depending on how many bottles I buy. The last purchase was, I think, 4 months back. We bought 500 bottles. So they're going for like Rand 45 each.
The events that you attend and that you intend to sell the kegs at, what contribution do they make to your revenue?
The events actually contribute significantly to our revenue. On bottles, I would say we utilize about 120 liters of gin, and then on events, about 80 liters of gin. So that's like 200 liters of gin.
So that's about 40% of your business?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And now with the removal of the bottle and the cork cost, that's going to add another 20% to your bottom line?
More or less.
That's interesting.
I don't see anything Zimbabwean on your label. Is that deliberate? Because it says African gin, which I can understand that it may seem like an outside brand just being produced locally on by license or anything like that.
Yes.
That's the one thing I would say. But I actually like the artwork on your branding.
Yes.
Looks classy.
Yeah.
It compares to bottles that are sold for around $30 to $50 on the international market.
Really? Okay.
All right, let me get a bit technical. Now I'm talking to a PhD holder. How did you ascertain that this is 43%?
We've got like an alcohol meter that we utilize for that.
Okay. I was thinking you're going to talk about certificates of analysis.
We've done that with SARS as well, just to comply. Yes, we've done that with SARS.
No, that's okay. I don't see the date of manufacture. I don't see the date of expiry. there's no traceability. I'm very worried about that, to say, these are industry standards. For anything to be sellable, for anything to be exportable, there's need for traceability, there's need for the date of manufacture, the date of expiry, and things like that.
Yeah.
And also, I think the issue of then that third-party certification, to say, yes, we might have an internal, but as part of regulation, you then need a third party.
Yes.
Especially for export, you then need your subs, or even an international body to then certify your alcohol. What's your monthly revenue?
Okay, on average, we were selling about 100 bottles a month.
Doing 15, 18, that's about 1.5, 1.8.
Yes.
And what's your margin?
About 60%.
60%?
Yes.
All right. No, that's okay, which makes it profitable. What's your capacity to then say, if we then say, okay, we are listing you in one of the shops in Zambia, South Africa, or anywhere, what is your current capacity in terms of output?
Okay, the equipment that we have in place, we can do about 1,000 bottles per month.
1,000 bottles per month.
Yeah.
And currently you are doing 100. So you are operating at about 10 to 15%.
Yes.
Okay, what is the challenge?
Packaging, finances, yes.
Packaging in terms of getting it from South Africa, or
both, because
the logistics.
Logistics, as I mentioned, I think if you look at the report, the people that we use to transport, these are very fragile bottles. Sometimes when it gets here, we'll be using Malaicha, and some of the packaging is no longer intact. So, yeah.
Well, now you're going to have to decide whether it's viable for you to continue using Malaicha, or you'd rather pay a premium price to a proper transporter who will insure your goods and land your goods. Now, you've revealed something now. Are you costing the Malaicha charge into your costings?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so you shouldn't be doing that, because that's not the correct channel. You're supposed to use the correct channels to import.
Okay.
So you should actually be costing, including what you're paying for duty, including, the actual cost of transport and all of the other logistics. That's what then makes your business viable. Because if you're saying it's viable because you're using Malaicha, the minute you scale up, all right, then you're going to have challenges that you didn't even anticipate.
True.
Yeah?
Yeah. Would you say the problem is packaging, or is it probably funding?
Yes, it's a funding problem.
Because your margin is decent. If you had enough funding, you would probably be able to land these bottles cheaper, which would then pay for the logistics amount that you would need to formally bring them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it's a yes from me. And I'll pay for a bottle, please.
Oh, great.
Okay, so I think I should have been the last to vote because I don't drink alcohol.
She doesn't get a vote.
My word of advice is we don't have to force the pitch out of you. So the issue about you having a PhD in chemical engineering speaks to your potential, which should be the first thing that you actually tell us when you come in here. And the issue about your value proposition, we don't have to drag it out of you. It's still a yes, but
I was trying to get used to it. It just happened last week. So.
It's a yes.
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried about a lot of things. You would understand why, right?
Yes.
This is a guy with potential. The biggest problem with most entrepreneurs is capacity. And he's just one guy who's just sitting on that capacity, who is comfortable to make 1,008 when he's supposed to make 18,000 or 20,000 because of his stored capacity. And he is literally saying his challenge is to bring a bottle. Of all the challenges, I mean, to be honest with you, that did not really sit well with me, because the capacity you have, the product you have, right, the market you have, but you are just deciding to operate at about 10-15% of the installed capacity, which is a cost on its own. to actually operate at that level. And you're actually shortchanging young people who should be employed by you to be doing this. You understand? So at the end of the day, it really worries me. And obviously with your level of education, there are some things that you should be doing properly. We should not be talking about Malaicha now, because the money that you pay as duty is the money that is sustaining the country. There is also need for you to regularize your operation, get registered, because once you get registered, there are a lot of protocols. You can actually import or export under the COMESA or the SADC trade protocols, literally duty-free if the product has got a certificate of origin.
And if he's doing everything correct, yes, the VAT he can claim back off of his sales.
So at the end of the day, you are also shooting yourself by not doing the right thing. The potential is there. The narrative is good. So I'm going to give you a conditional. Yes, this is a condition precedent.
Yes.
That the next time we meet, you should be at least 40% of your operation.
Okay.
And everything should be registered. And all the other compliance issues should be up to scratch, because we don't want to lose potential because we are sitting on things that we know we should do. So it's a conditional yes, but based on the condition precedence that I'm giving you. So I'm giving you 50%.
Yeah. I think you have a good concept.
Yeah.
I think your biggest problems is marketing. I think you're under-marketed. I have a feeling that you will do much better if you have on your team somebody who's really strong on marketing, because it's the first time I'm setting my eyes on this, the first time I'm hearing about it. I've been training for Zimtrade since maybe 2017 or something like that. So marketing needs to be done. Secondly, I would have loved to see Zimbabwe somewhere up front rather than relegated to the small print, which we can't even read at the back. So it's a good yes from me. I think your personality is good, your product looks good, and I think your future is actually good as well.
Thank you
but
very
your
much.
Capacity utilization is not good.
Yes.
Well done. That needs to be improved. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Congratulations.
At the moment, if we look at the craft gin or craft spirit industry in Southern Africa, it's literally dominated by South Africa. There is very much little coming from Zimbabwe, Botswana, and so on. And we believe that this will actually be a platform for us to get our product out there into the export market. Besides just the export market, we're also looking to reach out to more tourist places in Zimbabwe, such as Nyanga, Hwange, and so on. So yeah, that would really very much help us spreading our wings.
Next is Mercy. We caught up with Royal Infinity Bags at their workshop located in Bulawayo.
My name is Mercy Mabiza. I'm a 28-year-old serial entrepreneur. I'm the creative designer and director of Royal Infinity. It's a brand which epitomizes sophistication, luxury, and quality. We specialize in the designing, production, and distribution of a diverse yet unique range of bags. So these bags include your wallets, tote bags, duffel bags, just to mention a few. And we use a blend of materials, including genuine leather, faux leather, straw, burlap, etc. We started in June 2020. It was purely an online platform. And then we transitioned 2022 into a showroom so that we could afford our clients an intimate experience when they're shopping for the bags. I saw a gap in the economy. There were no averagely priced bags which were being done by a young Black woman. So I was like, you know what? Create one bag. But then it didn't become one bag. Eventually it became a whole range of different bags. So we've successfully launched 9 ranges which tell a different story. Every bag which we've designed now represents a woman in their space. They are able to carry it and that bag speaks for them. Like literally our bags are envied by queens and they introduce people when they get into their spaces. The experience has been positive. So much to learn from the trainings, from each pitch. The judges have added so much value into my business model. Things which, to me, I actually thought my business was perfect, but after every training and after every pitch, there was something which I could learn, and I feel like we have already implemented most of everything which I've learned in the past 6 months. So we have really seen quite a lot of growth in the business model. We were using metal tags to highlight our brand. Now we're embossing onto the bags, which is giving it a more professional look. And our financials were all over. So we have hired an in-house finance person and an accountant. We're now actually able to do budgets and prospect and do strategies for the future. Firstly, I would like to give feedback on key issues which were addressed during my first presentation. These issues include defining if Royal Infinity is a luxury brand, number 2, R&D strategies for Royal Infinity, and lastly, the financial aspect. This was in regard with addressing why we had a decline in our net income, and also any action plans which we could come with and future strategies. Royal Infinity has set itself as a luxury brand. Luxury and inexpensive can coexist and complement each other. In my context, when I speak about luxury, I don't mean exorbitant pricing. That means you will not find any of our bags in the price ranges of $500, but you might find bags in the price ranges of $100. Royal Infinity brand targets a specific market segment that appreciates luxury but is price conscious, which means overall, we have to note our target's needs, preferences, and cater for them effectively. The luxury aspect which I'm speaking about in my context is about delivering exceptional quality and craftsmanship in our leather bags, paying meticulous attention to detail, using superior materials, and expert artisanship. We have therefore optimized our production processes to maintain this high quality whilst keeping all our costs reasonable. However, in our initial tour production, we did note costs and overheads which we had neglected. Thus, you'll note from the first presentation, we had small bags ranging at about $40, but now we have revised our pricing and you'll get a similar bag at about 30 to 50% price increase. We are substituting the metal logo with embossing. This, in turn, will make the bags look more elegant. We are also expanding our product line by infusing different cultures. We're looking to export the product to different countries. So that means if we want our bags to be globally appealing, we also have to take note of all these other cultures. We are also now working with tanneries, which include Zambezi. We are also including smart bag technology, and this is in the example of what we call integrated charging ports in our bags. We're creating leather bags with modular components that can be easily customized by our customers. And lastly, we are also producing multifunctional bags. That means for a single bag, which can be a crossbody bag, it can also be a waist bag, and it can also be a backpack. From our market analysis, we noted that there was saturation of the product in Bulawayo and a shift in consumer preferences. Our action plan for that is to break into new markets and possibly export. Breaking into new markets, we have opened a branch in Kwekwe in the last two months, and we have seen a significant increase in our income, in our net income.
Mercy, I'm not impressed with the embossing. I hope you haven't spent a lot of money on it.
No, not yet.
You haven't?
So this is still a trial because we're failing to find the right machine for the type of leather which we're using. We're working on it.
Are you recognizing that this is your bag?
No.
From the emboss, like the reason why you're doing it is so that it's recognizable. That me walking through the airport, people will turn around and see, oh, which bag is she carrying? You know, and they'll see, oh, it's Royal Infinity. Okay, RI or something, big and bold. Okay.
Mercy, I'm very much interested in how the words luxury and low prices can be used in one sentence without banning the person who's using them.
So I would not use the term low pricing because I feel maybe that's a mistake we made initially. We're saying low prices ranging around $5. So when you speak luxury and you say $5 as an example, it doesn't make sense. But now we have averaged our prices to what is acceptable on the leather designs. If we price our bag at say $60, that's an affordable price. And according to us, even when we do our production, after all the costing, we're not burning ourselves in the foot as we were before.
Okay, so you did adjust your prices.
We have adjusted our prices, and most of them you'd see is now 30 to 50% increase on the initial pricing.
Mercy, well done. I commend you for taking the advice that you were given last time. I would be interested to know what the effect on the uptake of your bags is with the increase in price.
So currently, with the local market, there's still a transition because obviously people knew that our bags would range in to them it's a more affordable price. But we have made it clear that we are a luxury brand and these are the prices which we are now adopting. So there is, the response has been a bit slow, but I'm confident that give or take, it's just been two months. At least in the next year or so, we should see a significant increase.
What have you worked out your gross profit to now, the percentage? I think last time you said you were operating on 35%, yeah. And now?
So now we're looking at least 42%, which is the standard on fashion. So we're still improving to try and see how best we can fall within the range of what's acceptable relative to the fashion industry.
All right.
Messi, I've got quite a number of things for you. The first one is the name. I like it, Royal Infinity, but I think this is a local brand, and it can be to your advantage if you pivot it, with the local themes.
Okay.
You look at the other guys who are in the industry, Rukanda, Zambezi, you understand? So it gives that identity of where you are getting the raw materials. And it also helps you to create a story that can help your product to sell. Because now the world is about storytelling. How are you impacting the community? How are you sourcing the raw materials? What are the changes that you're making in the, the communities that you're getting? So Royal Infinity, to me, sounds more British. If there's that latitude for you to customize it. I know there are very beautiful names around Bulawayo that you can then curate your name and, it gives this nice feel. I'm also very worried about the way you are driving your strategy, because in a particular industry, there's what we call the industry norm, right? And then normally, if you can be transformational, you can transform the industry, but it requires a very huge resource base for you to be able to transform the industry. So in a way, you guys can actually kill your own industry by yourselves, because perception is reality. According to us, we perceive leather as expensive. So if you make it cheap, how are you going to make it royal, or how are you going to make it, exclusive? How are you going to make it prime and cheap at the same time? Leveraging on the industry norms can actually work to your advantage. Why? Because now there's a lot of R&D that you want to, i.e. the concept paper that you have just presented, you want to a multi-purpose bag, you want to add this, you want to add that, and that has got an impact on your cost. And then the next time you're going to come back to us and tell us, because I've added 2-3 more features, now I'm increasing my price. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of distortion that you can actually bring to your business. So it's also good to see what the industry, to get the industry norms, and if you can, just maybe 10-15% away from the industry, but to then have a very massive knock from what the industry is also a danger.
Mercy, will you allow me to interrogate your thought process in that you're thinking you saturated a market? Your research and development, have you established the size of your market? Do you know your market share as well? within the size? Because perhaps the market is not saturated.
Okay, maybe saturation is lack of a better word, but the target market relative to our pricing, we just felt like we'd gotten to a stage where it now didn't make sense for people to keep purchasing bags and have 30 or more of the same brand.
But you see, you're contradicting yourself, because your pricing point was in order to engage the mass market. All right. The mass market has mass numbers over 200 per month. That is what, 2,400 bags in the year? You've operated for how many years?
3 years.
3 years. There's no way you've saturated the market.
Right.
What you may have done is saturated your channel, your current channel of distribution. And now you need to investigate other channels which you can go into to reach those other numbers.
I agree with Diana. It's channels and other aspects of marketing. There's other aspects of marketing. The mix involves, including just the advertising itself. These days, you have to be very dynamic. This is why you'll find even the biggest brand in the world, like Coca-Cola, will be changing their payoff line very often. They will have, you can't taste the feeling, the feeling of happiness and all sorts of things. So perhaps your marketing campaigns need to be varied as well, and maybe find something different to talk about that will bring that interest again to your products, which has to do with marketing and not necessarily the fact that everyone in Bulawayo has your bag, which I doubt is the case.
Most of the leather actually comes from Bulawayo. That's another thing. And I think in the recent years, the government set up the Leather Institute, and there are so many SMEs that are doing like freelance leather, that are doing leather. And on the streets of Bulawayo, like you can literally like...
Okay, thank you for that. The other reason now, I want to redirect you to the pricing issue. The key consideration in the leather industry is the durability.
Yes.
Once you get a bag today, I can stay with it for the next 20 years. So if you price it properly today, you are also making sure that, because it's different from maybe a business where people buy a loaf of bread every day. People then can buy another leather after 5, 10, and 15 years. So you guys also saturated the market yourselves by dropping the price and making it available to everyone.
Everybody.
And everyone now owns a bag. Do you understand? And the time you need a repeat sale, everyone has it. And this is the same problem that you are going to transfer in Kwekwe. You transfer it again in Harar. You transfer, at the end of the day, you reach a saturation point, and literally your industry goes down. So those are things that you need to be careful about.
I think for me, I'm very much impressed with the fact that you went back and you scrapped your business model after the advice that we gave you the last time. Very commendable, Messi. One word of advice is make sure that you follow the money, Make sure you're not losing money in as much as you are trying to balance the luxury and the pricing. But I must actually commend you and say, like the previous week I was in Mat South, deep in Gwanda, and the ladies there were actually talking about your bags. And I was very impressed. I pretended as if I didn't know you. So for me, it's a yes.
Thank you.
Well done.
Right, I want to see more of you. I want to see you grow. I want to see you export, and I want to be carrying your bag too. So it's yes from me.
Thank you.
You're onto something, because we're looking at this from an export point of view. You can do well with this product. It sounds like you have hunger. I would say yes. Let's give it another shot. A few improvements here and there. You're likely to be on the money with this product.
Thank you.
I've got reservations. There are issues that I would need to see improved. I've seen, a couple of you guys coming through. And I think, especially in terms of, the branding and I think the pricing, to me, there are some issues that I think you really need to work on. But now you've got 3 yeses, which is good for you.
Well, Liz, why are you talking about our 3 yeses?
No, it's very important. You guys have given her 3 years and she has made it to the next round, which is very important.
But you're supposed to vote.
And what's your vote?
I think there's a lot of work that she needs to do, to be honest.
Definitely.
I've seen Moreda here, I've seen Rukanda here, I've seen a couple of, and I've seen bags being sold in the export market, right? Netherlands, I've seen them in Zambia. And where she is right now and what is currently selling in the market, she's a level lower. So I needed to up her game.
Is that in terms of quality?
Yes, in terms of quality, in terms of branding of the bag, and even the designs. As she leaves this room, she has to know that she is playing in a more competitive environment.
Absolutely.
And she has to up her game, right? And I'm not discrediting anything from here. I'm not taking away all the yeses that you guys have thrown to her.
But yours is still starting to sound like a yes, though.
It's a 50-50. It's a
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mercy.
Thank you very
much.
It's a 50-50.
Well done.
It's a diluted yes or no.
So, 4 yeses, my dear.
Congratulations.
3.5.
Thank you very much. We round up in mathematics. Always 4 yeses.
Leslie.
Yeah.
You need to stop it.
No, look,
he's the professor amongst us, Shamari. Let him allow.
No.
Royal Infinity is well positioned for the global market. We are capable of mass producing bags for the international market, and we have done ample research such that our product is accepted internationally relative to the quality. The local market has embraced the product, so that means internationally we can go toe-to-toe with some brands.
Next is Nomanjabulo Mantula. In her first pitch,
I'm quite impressed that when I was listening to you, I was actually wondering what you were going to export. And yeah, franchise was the last thing that came to my mind, honestly. There's definitely potential. I can see the level there. It is very exclusive. It's very personal. Yeah.
If you notice from the booklet on the first page, it shows the journey that we had, starting off from a company called Sweet Bunny that had sweet treats as well as gifts. But then we realized that there was a huge demand for our treats, which therefore necessitated the need to open a takeaway cafe, which we then named Sweet Gatri so that we could specialize on that. And with time, we've noted that it's wise for us to then further rebrand to what we will now be calling Gatri Cafe. This is coming from the discussions that we had from the last pitch. The rebranding resulted from us trying to reduce our costs, because being in a mall meant that we had high operating costs as well as high rentals. And we didn't have full control of our menu, as we were supposed to only do sweet treats. But winter taught us a lesson that in as much as we may be big on milkshakes, which is our biggest selling product, we would need to have salty food so that people can come there. So now our menu will be expanding as well once we have relocated to the suburbs. Sweet Gatri broke even within the first quarter. However, as stated, during the winter season, we did experience a few losses. In the last episode, we were told to improve our systems, which we have. And we've got a company that is working on creating customized systems, which is the ERP, the Enterprise Resource Planning System, and the CRM, Customer Relations Management System. This is to allow us to, as we grow and hopefully have branches in other places, we will be able to use the same system that will be customized to us specifically. And also the recipes as well. As we're growing, we have increased our product range, which has necessitated for us to make sure that despite employees coming in and out, they know that we mix product A and B to produce the final product, which will be product C. That way the standard is always maintained. It was also noted that we had credit risk during the assessment, as we had a client that had requested for goods and then delayed to pay, We have since introduced new terms until we are at a more financially stable situation. We are only taking orders and only recognizing them after a deposit has been paid. And delivery is done after the full payment has been made.
What have your sales been lately?
In April, we were now at 2.5. And then during the winter season, unfortunately, we went as low as, wait, apologies, let me verify that. In winter, we went as low as 5K, with our worst case scenario being 4.8. However, we also learned how to reduce our expenses as well.
Sorry, you said you're selling 2,500 a month.
Apologies,
Yeah, and then she says in winter it was worse because it was lower.
What's your year to date?
In total? Sorry, let me calculate that quickly.
Okay.
I know them in their monthly.
In their monthly? Oh,
yes.
Okay. No, that's fine.
So I know we've ranged from 10 and we're averaging on 7 point something. And then our worst case scenario being the 5 and the 4.5.
So where's the 2,500 coming from?
So these are unit sales.
No, I heard it from you. I didn't see it anywhere.
2.5.
Yes,
yeah, you said 2.5.
April.
Apologies, I meant 10.5.
Well, that's a huge difference then.
And this is your turnover, I'm assuming, eh? What's your margin?
Our margins were, we started off with making losses, and then we broke even, just above break even, which was give or take about between 5 to 1,000 in April. And then in August, we had about 400. The reason why we are also relocating is the fact that not only did they increase the rentals, they also increased our operating costs, which means that I paid $2,000 rentals per month. But then now with the relocating, we're guaranteed that we're knocking off 1.5 from that figure.
Okay. No, that's okay.
All right, and your sales not going to be affected by the relocation. You were centrally located, I think?
Yes, we were centrally located. However, one of our competitors moved in around March. It didn't turn into a positive, despite the figures sounding higher. Instead, we lost our clientele because the targeted clientele are more of the halal community, the businessmen that want to have their coffee, because we also had Wi-Fi. But instead, because there was a bar in the cafe that came next door, the customers didn't feel comfortable. And then they asked us to move out so that they could come back. So now they are doing takeaways, but it's not on a regular basis. So we are confident that our customers will still
move with you. Okay, so you're only losing your foot traffic?
Yes.
Okay.
And we had also been advised to start approaching the companies. So we have 2 companies that we have been working on with, and that they've been very understanding that because we're new, our working capital is still rather low. So they have agreed that they pay before delivery is made.
Are these meant for testing?
Yes, please do. That's our signature dish.
Oh, okay. And what are these?
Coconut macarons.
Macarons?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So you want to franchise this?
Yes. My business partner is from Malawi. So this is our test run. And then next year, we're hoping, if all goes well, by the end of the year, we will have our first branch in Malawi. And then from there on, we'll look at going further.
Do you have any other branches in Zimbabwe?
No.
So why would you want to rush to export before you have even developed a concept or even been able to go through several seasons to see the trends, to see whether this is viable or not? Because this is an export incubation program, yeah. So why are you thinking of going into export already?
We joined the incubation program because it's one thing to think you want to export one day and create standards that are not meeting the world standards. However, if you're within the program, you are able to set the standards that are required. For example, when we had the technical assessments, we discovered that our systems were not strong enough. Hence, us then having the ERPs being introduced, we also discovered we needed to standardize our recipes, have A and B, so that we can maintain the secret recipes to ourselves. We also discovered that from the question that I was asked, how much would the franchise be worth? That needed us to also move out because we didn't have control of the mall, the setup, the mood, everything. So because we are here, we are able to fast track, so to say, the learning process. It will take me 3 years to learn what I've learned within this period.
Okay. For me, it's an easy decision looking at your business. I'm told your food is actually quite good from those who have been to the restaurant. But looking at this program in terms of export, it looks like you are still trying out a concept and have not even yet established yourself locally. Not only in terms of establishing yourself in Bulawayo, but even nationwide or in other places besides your current location. And so to try and look at export yet before you establish yourself even as a concept to see that it works and go through other seasons to see the behavior and so forth, I would say not yet. For me, it's an easy decision. It's a not yet because you still haven't established exactly what it is that you need to do in order to survive as a business before you can even start franchising it.
It's a not yet from me. I would definitely like to see you come back next year and tell us some of the lessons that you've learned after the relocation, and a lot more growth has been experienced. You know all about selling an experience. You have to also get some experience in what you're doing and also be convinced of its viability elsewhere. Yeah.
So the other reason why we want to get into Malawi next year is the fact that we acknowledge that perhaps as we were experiencing the challenges, we might actually have a better chance of survival in Malawi, not because of the finances only, but because we'll be able to have a
bigger market
for starters. And despite having one branch, we're not planning on being the next INSCO. We want to concentrate on that experience. So even as we are growing and turning it into a franchise, we would want it to be something that's still exclusive and move into one branch there, another branch there, so that it still maintains that exclusivity.
I've traveled to a couple of regional countries, and what I've seen mainly is Zimbabwean restaurants are missing in action. You know, we grow very much within our local, but look at your Hungry Lion, you go to South Africa, you go to most regional countries, right? You know, but we are lacking that footprint. And I'm also following through the figures that she's sharing vis-a-vis the figures that we have been hearing from others and the period that she has also launched. I think there's a lot of potential. And now that the other issue is, the other partner is Malawian, which is also they are riding on the experience of the other partner, you know, and it can be an easy entry. I think if they had chosen Botswana or South Africa, it was going to be definitely a no from me. Why? Because they will be spreading too much. But I think they are leveraging on, you know, that Zimbabwean experience. She has the Zimbabwean experience. The partner is the Malawian experience. And I think also just...
Leslie, can I differ with you a little? Because yes. We're talking export strategy, route into market is franchising. Franchising. And when you look at franchising as the route to market that she mentions, that she wants to give, franchising has to do with concept, has to do with standards. And standardizing the quality. Now, how do you duplicate the quality you have in Bulawayo into Malawi when you have not gone through cycles of business where you are able to even be able to sustain yourself as a business in the first place?
Yeah, I think they have to drop the franchising thing, to be honest.
It might actually be more viable just to go and start Sweet Gatri in Malawi and not
micro multinationals.
Yes.
Right, whereby as an SME you can be in this country, you go as an SME in that other country, you go as an SME in other, you are a micro multinational. So that would be the best strategy for you. But if you then say you want to franchise, definitely what Mr. Stole becomes very right. It will be a no, because there are no standards, there is no business experience, there is no, it's more sentimental more than anything. Then you are attracting a lot of problems for yourselves. Because franchising requires maturity, requires experience, requires
reputation,
it requires a lot of things. So, but you guys deciding to say, okay, because my other partner is Malawi, let's go to Malawi. Let's put up something around one of their malls. Oh, we have got another friend in Zambia. Let's go and do something with her in Zambia. It's acceptable. Oh, there's another relative of my aunt who is in Botswana. Let's also go and put something in Gaborone. You become a micro multinationals, growing as small businesses, but in different countries. So I think the franchise issue, let's take it out.
I'll talk to my business partner. It has to be a combined decision.
Yeah. The franchise is too early. It's too early.
Okay, so looking at the fact that you've been operating for 9 months and the figures that you're giving us, I think it's a sign of a very positive takeoff, which is highly commendable. I also like the fact that you have managed to include your USPs, the issue of your biodegradable packaging, your certified halal, and your gluten-free products, which we actually spoke about the last time, to say we didn't have to sort of like squeeze that information out of you, and now you just came out with it out in the open. It's a yes for me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Norma's journey in the nest comes to a close. The judges have decided that the business isn't yet prepared to expand into international markets. Two businesses, Royal Infinity and Matobo Gin, have made it to the final round. They now stand a chance to be awarded an export development package. A grand season finale will be hosted by Zimtrade and EcoBank in partnership with UN Women.